Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. So if you've been around my channel at all, you might be able to tell that I kind of have an antique collecting problem. I mean, it's not really a problem, it's just that I now have a lot of antique pieces, and every time that I go to pull out an antique piece, I have 5 boxes full of them and I never know what is where or where to find anything or anything like that. So I have to dig through all the boxes and find where everything is. And sometimes I forget what pieces I have, which is terrible. And now that I've been doing videos on all of these pieces for a year, and I have about 12 or so, I think, videos on various antique pieces, which I will link in the playlist up above and down in the description, I am starting to forget which pieces I have already recorded, and that is not good. So this needs to change. I was inspired by Abby mentioning recently that she has cataloged her collection, which is far more vast than mine, but mine is still getting pretty big, and I think it's time to catalog everything so that I know where it is, what it is, when I bought it, when it's from, maybe even how much I paid for it if I can find those records, and all sorts of things like that. So I went online and I looked up how to go about cataloging antique clothing, and I didn't find anything. Literally, like, I Googled it, I YouTubed it, nothing. So I'm making this up on my own. I do not have a background in museum anything, and I am just a hobbyist collecting these pieces so that I can learn from them and so that I can share them all with you. So I figured I would kind of mark down what I feel is the pertinent information about each of these pieces. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet that I made. So I've made this spreadsheet using Google Sheets, and I've created several columns that I am going to be hopefully filling out for each of the pieces in my collection. And those columns are item number. So I'm going to assign a number to each of these pieces, ideally based on when I acquired them or possibly the year that they are if that's easier to do. And those item numbers are also going to get put on the boxes so that I know what's in there. Garment type, so that means bodice, tea gown, walking suit, top and bottom of dress, etc. Year, or at least approximate year. Picture, so I'm going to actually take a picture of each of these pieces as I go through and create this video, and I am going to put the picture both in this spreadsheet, and ideally I want to print out the pictures and have them on like pieces of paper that I can just leaf through and know which box contains which pictures. But also I'd love to like stick that on the box if possible, because I just feel like that would be easier and very beneficial. Box number. So I have actually acquired another box. So now, I guess now I have 5 boxes. I had 4 boxes. So I'm going to have box 1 through 5 so that I know what piece is in what box. Video date, so those are for all of the ones that I've already filmed videos on, or even videos that I know are upcoming at a certain time I can put in here. So each of those video dates are going to go in here so that I know very easily what I have already recorded. Materials, so ideally I can go through and put, okay, well this is made of linen, this is silk, this is wool, this is cotton and silk, etc. Condition, so I want to be good about knowing what condition things are in, because obviously I want to be storing and preserving these in a way that they are going to be around for another century or century and a half or 170 years as some of my oldest pieces are. So I do want to notate the condition, just sort of a generic thing at least, like excellent condition, poor condition, falling apart, etc. Measurements. So as part of this process, I am actually going to go through and measure at least the waist of each of these pieces. It's harder to measure the bust when it's like a flat object, just because busts usually are narrower in the back and then wider in the front. So it's harder to measure that, but I would at least like to measure the waist of each of these, especially so that I know if it's one that can fit on my dress form or not. Date acquired. So I'm gonna go and pour through all of my email receipts from eBay and stuff like that and see if I can find out the date acquired. Now, some of these didn't come from eBay, some of these were given to me, so some of them it's a little bit harder to get a date. I can generally know what year I acquired them, so at least that will be something. Price paid. Again, if it's one with a receipt, then I can figure out what it was and I can put it in there. And for all future acquisitions, I can also put that in there. And likewise purchased from. So that could be eBay, or it could be a specific seller on eBay, or it could be the name of the person who gave it to me, if that is the case. And those are all of the categories that I think are important at this point. If I figure out that there are actually additional things that I want to notate as I go through, then I will. But so far, I think those are the important ones and will really help curate my collection a little bit more and definitely help organize my collection more. So I'm going to pull out the 4 boxes of stuff plus my 5th empty box. I guess I should also put in there with the box, I think I'll probably put layer, because unfortunately I only have so much storage room and therefore I have to layer my pieces. Ideally, every piece would be in its own box. That it's not possible in a 970 square foot house. So all of my pieces are going into the same 5 boxes. If I come up with more storage space at some point in the future, I'll spread it out. But at this point, I've got 3 in the bottom of my closet and 2 under my bed, and that's all I can do. So this room will probably get to be kind of a mess of pieces as I try to figure out layers, because in general, I want the heavier things to be on the bottom of the boxes. Likewise, the more fragile things or the lighter weight things, I want to be on the tops of the boxes because I don't want the weight pressing down on them. So I kind of have to like distribute what goes where, and it might be quite a puzzle, but I think it'll be possible, and I am taking you along with me as I do all of this cataloging, and I will kind of show you, this is this piece. This is this piece. We won't be doing a deep dive on this. Again, I will have linked the playlist down below with all of the videos that I've already recorded, and keep your eyes out because this is a monthly series. So every month I do release a new video in this series on another piece in my collection. So we're starting with a piece that's actually not even in a box yet because I just filmed the video for this piece and it's the newest one in my collection. This was given to me by a viewer, Dean. Thank you so much. And this video will be coming out either next month or the following month. I haven't quite decided yet, but it is a very, very late 1890s piece and it has a waist of 24 inches, super, super tiny. So this is the first one I will be documenting. So before I really get any farther, I also want to talk storage for a minute, because you can't just store your antique collection in anything. You need to make sure that you're keeping it good and safe. And I have to admit, I didn't know this at first. And so I probably accidentally caused some damage on my very earliest pieces because I kept them in their own, but a dresser drawer. And that was it. And I know that that was not a good solution for them. That's kind of like too out in the open, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely not right. And they weren't in acid-free paper or anything like that. So that's what you want to have. You want to have acid-free tissue paper because the acid otherwise I think can like seep into the clothing and basically eat away at the clothing. So that's why you buy acid-free tissue paper, and you also buy acid-free garment archival boxes. I get mine from the Container Store. These are what they look like when you purchase them. I haven't opened this one yet. They are a little bit pricey, so do keep that in mind that if you're going to start building up an antique collection, yes, you are going to be paying for the price of the antiques, but you also do need to pay for things like the boxes. These boxes, I believe, are about $45. And they're worth it. I mean, they're really, really good sturdy boxes, and they're also going to help really protect your garments from everything. Now, you do also have to keep in mind like temperature of where you're storing them, humidity levels, things like that. And so like, for example, I'm not going to keep it in the garage because I don't know what's going on in the garage. I just know that it gets both cold and hot, and also like bugs live in the garage sometimes. And yeah, so that's why they all live in my bedroom, because I figure if I live in my bedroom, that's probably okay for the garments as well. They do live in the bottom of my closet, so they are safe from animals and all of that sort of stuff as well. And I always make sure that if I am opening the box like on my bed, because sometimes I will do that, there are no animals in the room, because trying not to have these covered with cat hair, that'd be great. So yeah, these are the boxes. I will put a link in the description below if you want to purchase any of your own. I highly recommend them, and you can fit quite a bit in here. I know this looks small, but it actually opens up to be 40.5 inches long and 19.5 inches wide. So they hold quite a lot and they fit really nicely underneath the bed. Oh, and by the way, if you go to order this, this actually does come with tissue paper as well. So don't be like me and go purchase an entire box of acid-free tissue paper your first time also, because I still have some of that left, because this generally comes with a fair amount, like not everything you're gonna need, but a fair amount of tissue paper in here. So this is what they look like when assembled. So as I mentioned, very large, and it has a lid that looks pretty similar to this, but is a little bit shallower and slightly wider, so they can go over the top. And the nice thing is that this length is basically long enough for, I think, every skirt in my collection fits in this. So the only pieces in my collection that don't are my 1860s dress and my 1890s tea gown, as in like things that are bodice and skirt attached don't fit in here, and you kind of have to fold them and pad the folds. But the skirts all fit just like lengthwise in here. I think every single skirt does. I might be wrong. I'll have to double check. But I'm going to start tomorrow by putting everything where it goes, and I will show you each little blip as I put it where it goes. I'm starting in on the next box now, which has several layers, starting with the 19 Teens Couture dress that you have already seen. And what else is in here? Oh, another 19 Teens evening dress underneath that. The 1890s tea gown underneath that, which I should actually leave that accessible since I am now recreating that and I need that. And underneath that, I know, lots and lots of layers. Underneath that is the magenta velvet one, which you've seen. Wow, you've seen like almost all of this box so far. And below that, there is something else. Below that, oh, an 1890s bodice that you haven't seen, I think, that has the most wonderful sleeves. That feels like the bottom. There might be some other stuff over here as well. Oh yeah, another 1890s one. That's everything in this one. So I'm going to go through and catalog all of these now. Okay, so I started to go through the first box and like started to pull things out of it. And then I realized I can't just pull things out of it and document it and put it in another box, because particularly with this box, this has a lot of the like really light stuff, like that couture dress, the other 19 teens dress, like those are the types of things that need to be on the top of something. And so as I'm cataloging, I think I actually need to have all 4 boxes worth of stuff out, or at least available, because everything that I'm pulling out first is a light item, because that's why it's on the top of the box. And obviously if I'm going to start putting things away, it needs to be a heavy item. So I kind of like need to see what I have so that I can figure out where it goes and into which box and everything. So this is going to be a lot harder than I thought, because this room is tiny and these boxes are large, and I now have 2 of them out. And then I'm thinking I'm going to like kind of create a pile of stuff. I've cleared off my sewing table. Luckily my machine is in the shop right now, so I guess I have some space and I can start piling things there. Maybe like make a lightweight pile just in general, so that I can then get those out of the way and just deal with the heavy stuff first. So this is going to be quite a process. So in this second box, we're again starting with some really lightweight stuff up here. This is another 19 teens dress, and this one is like a really, really lightweight cotton with actually like a cotton mesh even in there. And then underneath that is the one that I'm hoping to reproduce if I can find a really close fabric to this, because I am in love with this dress. It's just so freaking adorable, and I can't wait to show you that in a video closer to this summer. And then below that is my 1860s dress that I have shown you before. This is the piece that I've had for the longest, and also possibly the oldest piece in my collection. I have 2 1860s pieces, so it might be the oldest. And then, let's see, I don't think there's very much in here. Oh, actually, I need this one. This is, I think, is it? I think this is the 1890s walking suit. I'm not positive. I think that's an 1890s walking suit underneath that. That's just a waistband, so it's hard to tell. Okay, at least this one doesn't have very many pieces in it because they're all large. So I think that was only 4 pieces, and I believe that's everything in this box. Of course, there's 2 more boxes to take a look at, but at least that might be a little bit easier. So now I can start putting the light things in a pile and get those out of the way. I started to pull them out and realized I missed a layer. The gimps are in here too. I've already done a video on these gimps also, but they are nice and light and delicate, so they will kind of go in my delicate pile. The other one I believe is on the other end. So I discovered a piece that I totally forgot that I had. It's just a petticoat. It's this really cute little petticoat with a deep faced hem and ruffles on the bottom and this lovely like sheer striped cotton, and it's just gorgeous. I don't remember where I got it.
Editing Rebecca here. I just remembered. I found this at a small antique store in a town in northern Washington.
So anyway, now I've put this box over here and I've taken everything out of the second box, which is over here now empty. So now I have 2 boxes that I can start putting things into, and I've pulled out my third box, I guess, which was the one stacked at the bottom of my closet, and it lives at the bottom of my closet because it's been the heaviest box. And so I wanted this one out because it has some of the sturdier pieces in it. So this one on top, I have shown you this one. This is my lovely 1890s bodice. Actually, it's not even on top. There's something on top of it. Oh, I showed you that one too. That is that fun ribbony striped one that almost looks like it's made out of denim. Wow, I've shown you guys a lot of pieces. I'm gonna need to get more. And let's see. Here we have, this is turn of the century. That one is actually delicate. I don't know why that is not on the top of this box. Ooh, here's my other 1860s piece. I bought that in the bargain basement at Costume College. And what is under here? Ah, velvet jacket. This is my mystery item. It's also sucking up light, so it's not even showing you any details. But it's a velvet jacket that I have no idea when it's from or who would have worn it or whatever. I'll have to do a video on it sometime just so you guys can help me figure out the mystery. But it's velvet lined with file. It's very lovely, and it's in like almost perfect condition. Oh, here we go. Here's my actual heaviest piece. This is a velvet capelet that is decorated all over with beading and like fur and soutache, and I have one other velvet capelet too. That's why this is so heavy. This one has just tons of jet beading on it, and that should be the bottom because that's the heavy item. Yeah, I think there are more bodices in the other end of this box, but I believe everything in this box is bodices and then those capelets. So the capelets, I just have to do a quick inventory of them. I'm not measuring size or anything because they're capelets. So I'll put those into my document, and that way I can take the bodices out maybe and start documenting those, but actually start filling up this box. I just have to pop in here for a moment and show you how 1890s bodices are so freaking wide. I love it. This is the one that I showed you in a video sometime last year, and it was the one that was marked like Renaissance peasant blouse or whatever when I bought it online. But seriously, so this is a 40-inch box, if you remember me telling you that. And this, when it's like all the way wide, now this is a larger bodice too. This one's like a 30 or 31-inch waist, I believe. But this is almost a 40-inch wingspan, and I freaking love it. This is what I love about the 1890s. I think that is ridiculous and wonderful. I just had to show you that. So now I'm going to go ahead and figure out where it's going to go in the boxes. So I've started with filling up the first 2 boxes. I don't know if I'm doing this in a smart manner or not, but basically these 2 boxes, I took most of the heavy stuff from box 1 and then divided it into the 2 boxes. So for one thing, I've labeled the boxes on the corners, on 2 corners, so that they can stick out and I can see the side no matter what. And same with over here, this is box number 2. And this one has things like that mint bodice and skirt in it, which I probably shouldn't have put as high as I did because it is quite heavy, but the stuff under it is all very sturdy. There's actually very little in this box. There is the petticoat, the 1860s bodice, because it's in really fantastic condition and feels very sturdy, and an 1890s bodice. And I think
That's it, actually. I think I'm going to put one or two other maybe small light things up here. If I have room, I'll put one of the 19 teens dresses, because those are all kind of the lightest and fragilest things. All 5 of my 19 teens dresses are the lightest and most fragile things basically in my whole collection. So I'll see if I can get one in there. I'm not really sure. This I've padded out a little bit, which I should be doing with every bodice, but I'm really only doing it with the bodices that just cannot lay flat. And so since this is a little bit of a powder pigeon style, not very much, but it's got a little bit there, it refused to lay flat in any case. So I've put a little bit of padding in this one here. And let me show you the underneath box too. So I think this is going to be it for box number 1. Box 1 has the 1860s dress ideally on top. If I have to, maybe I can put one other really small item like a gimp or something on top of that. And then underneath this is the velvet jacket, which again is eating light, so it looks like literally nothing. On the other side from the velvet jacket is this lovely woolen silk bodice that you really can't see much of right now, but it's got jet beading, and I believe it's just around right past like early 1900s. And then underneath that are the 2 capelets. So ideally I would like that to be everything for box number 1, because I feel like the worst person in the world, but I feel like this has been aging since I purchased it. This was my first piece, and some of this stuff that is on it now, as far as like shreds and stuff go, I don't remember them being there when I first got it. And I mean, I didn't know much about historical antiques or whatever, so this one was the one that I first stored in a drawer. But I don't remember that stuff being on there, and it makes me nervous, and I want it to be nice. So like this fold right here, this is padded. In fact, I think I'm going to put another layer of paper fully under this bodice so that it doesn't even sink down right here. I just want to support it as much as possible. But first I'm going to make sure that I don't need to put anything on top of it. I really don't want to, because although it is like a cotton and it's pretty sturdy, it's also 160 years old, and I just want to be nice to it. I don't want further damage to happen. So even though this is a heavier piece and what seems like it's a sturdier piece, that's why it's going to live on top.
So now that I have 2 boxes basically filled, that means that I can bring out the 5th box that has been living under my bed and look at incorporating that stuff in the layers of the stuff that I have yet to put away with the other boxes. Everything left, nothing is that heavy, nothing is like too sturdy. There are some definitely sturdier pieces, but nothing is like heavy and weighty like some of the stuff that's in these 2 boxes. So I've kind of made these the heavier guys, and they're probably going to be the base of my closet. One of them might go under my bed. We'll see about that. But the things off the top of my head that are in that last box are things like that ivory 19 teens dress that I've shared on here, the light blue bodice from the 1890s, or what I think is the 1890s, that is that like ice blue color, the black with the beautiful little floral print dress, the top and bottom, those are in there, and I can't remember what else might be in there. I know those pieces are in there. So those are all like, the dress is obviously a little heavier because it's a dress, the 1890s dress, but it's still like a pretty light area. That was such a soft silk on that dress. So everything there, I guess that's really what it is that pretty much everything that I've left is a silk or a really, really fine lightweight cotton. I think at this point all of the wools and heavier cottons have been put into these 2 boxes. So now I can move these out of the way and bring in that last box. So I forgot that this box also has that 5th bonus bodice piece that I examined at the same time as the light blue and the black with the floral. But the kind of awesome thing is that, yes, I need to catalog everything in this box, but I think it actually all wants to live together. And there's a little bit more room on the top, so I think things like the gimps could go in there and not have to go on top of the 1860s dress. So that's really great. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna catalog that box and like put it all back in there, double checking of course that I can get everything else in the other boxes. But that means that I'm actually going to put the lid back on it and put it aside for now, see if I can get everything else in the 2 other remaining boxes. And yeah, if so, then I'll just pull that out at the last sort of thing and catalog it then. So that's good and a kind of a relief, but I'm still feeling like even with that 5th box, they're not getting to have much breathing room. And yes, I did get a 5th box and got that mint piece at the same time, and the mint piece is a little bit bulkier, but I want them all to have breathing room. And I am going to take out the 1890s tea gown for now, just so that I can do some additional examining as I start that tea gown project. And it will probably live in this room for a little bit. I have to be really careful about leaving anything out of this room because animals. So it's getting late though tonight, so I don't know that I'm really gonna do any more cataloging tonight. We'll see, but yeah, I'm just really hopeful that everything fits in these 5 boxes and that I don't have to rearrange the work that I've already done. I have added that, by the way, to my spreadsheet. I didn't have that in there before, but I've added what layer, so it'll be like bottom, second to bottom, third to bottom, top, etc. And that way I know where everything is. And I've realized I'm going to assign all of the numbers afterwards, and I will do that with like printing the numbers on the little pictures and putting them on the box probably, or putting them on that paper on the box like I mentioned. But right now it's definitely been helpful to take the picture and put it into my spreadsheet, because I have so many, particularly black bodices, that just saying like black 1890s bodice doesn't give me enough information. And so without listing like exactly how things are trimmed, it's so much easier to have the picture in my spreadsheet. So I've been remembering to take the pictures as I go, and that way I really can identify everything a lot better. So anyway, on that note, I am going to go to bed and I will continue on this project tomorrow. So I am back at it today, and today what I'm starting with is I'm going to do box 3. So box 3 is my second to last box that I have like empty basically at this point, and I'm going to start by putting all of my like next heaviest things in there, besides the 1890s suit and the 1890s tea gown. Those are going to go in my last remaining unnumbered box. I haven't numbered one of the others either, I guess, but those will go in the box that's completely empty. But in box 3, it's pretty much, I think, all going to be bodices, at least down on the bottom layers. If I can fit some of those 19 teens dresses as like a couple of top layers, that would be super awesome, because otherwise I'm not sure where I'm going to put them. But just like looking through and seeing some of the ones that have been like hiding on the bottom for a while, it's such a nice feeling, and I want to show you this one in particular. I will do an examining video on this later, but this was, I think, my first 1890s piece that I collected, and I love it. So let me show you that really quickly. I am very much looking forward to doing a video on this beauty at some point. This is another one where like the sleeves aren't quite as wide as that brown bodice. I didn't realize just how wide those were, but these are huge and wonderful and like just enormous and flappy and architectural, and yeah, very excited to show this one to you at some point. So that will be coming probably sometime this year, and it's one of my favorites, and it's so nice to like unearth it, but it is going to wind up going back into the bottom because it's one of the heavier bodices that I have left. So it'll be things like this, that lovely girl going back in there, and then some of the other bodices like the brown one with the giant sleeves will be living in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start on all those. So in the end, box 3 actually wound up taking a lot of rearranging, but I think this is the final box. It's full. There's really nothing else that will fit. So hopefully I don't need to attempt to fit anything else in or need to rearrange anything. We've got the couture dress on top. Below that, on this side, is that really weird bodice that had the double sleeves that I've done a video on that I think was turn of the century-ish. This side is another bodice I've done a video on. This one was from April of last year, and it's made of like lace and cotton gauze and stuff. And then we have, I think below that is the magenta on this side, and that's the bottom of this side, but this one has the, it has a black one here with a standing color, which I have not done a video on, and then the stripy gray in there,
And down at the bottom was that one that I just showed you that is the black with the cool netting and giant sleeves. So I feel like there might be something else on this side because otherwise I don't think it would be brought up that much, though the magenta velvet one is quite thick. But that's everything in here, so I guess there's only 2 bodices in here that I haven't done videos on, which is good to know. So I pulled that 1890s dress out to do the examining video, and then I realized it wasn't quite what I remembered. So I'm just going to show you this little sneak preview of it here. So you get to see this little bit here, but I have actually already filmed another video on that mint 2-piece outfit, and to have them both back to back would just be a little repetitive. So you're gonna have to wait until probably autumn for this one. I think this is a great autumnal piece. So you will be seeing this lovely chocolate brown walking suit from the 1890s this autumn. So do make sure that you are subscribed so that you're notified when I release that video, but I'm not going to film it right now. So she gets to now go back into the box.
So here's some weird sort of like pseudo-philosophical thoughts from me for a second, because obviously as a plus size woman, I face a lot of things, you know, size issues, things that like don't come in my size or etc. And I've faced that for all of my life because I've been this size really for all of my life. But it's really interesting to kind of stop and think about the opposite end of the spectrum, because that's something that I'm actually facing also here with my antique collection. And obviously, again, the reason why so many antiques are so small is because people could not wear them. But I've been looking for a dress form that I could get for my small size antiques. And it's really interesting to me that something like this dress form here, which has a 27-inch waist and seems so tiny to me, and like the dress and stuff, the dresses that I put on this seem so tiny, but at the same time, the majority of my collection doesn't even fit on this dress form. And so again, I've been looking for a dress form that would have like a 22-inch waist, because I think that's pretty much the smallest in my collection, things that have about a 22-inch waist. And I have a lot of them that have a 22-inch waist. And I have found so far 2 dress forms, I think, on the entire internet that come down that far. One of them is the Dritz, like adjustable type form, which starts at a 22-inch. And then the other one is another just like solid form like this, but it's pretty pricey, and it is a 22-inch waist, but then I think the bust is actually too large for most of my antique pieces. And both of those are like $150 and up. And I think there's the professional ones, obviously, but those are like $300, so that's never gonna happen. And so just like looking for a dress form that would fit these, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a size difference from like a 27-inch waist versus a 22-inch waist. But I feel like nowadays it's almost as if the world and everything is telling you like 27-inch waist equals human proportions. 22-inch waist equals you don't exist. And so like, if you are one of those people who are super tiny, because I know that people are out there that still have those tiny petite proportions, I feel sorry for you as well, because just like plus size people, you face sort of size discrimination, and I get it. And it's really interesting because I've never kind of seen that aspect before. But yeah, so that was just a random philosophical thought from Rebecca, and I'm going to continue on with organizing my antique collection now. So I have my last empty box here, and I am labeling this one box 4 because I do still have that box that has all of the stuff that ideally will only have that stuff in it. That's going to be box 5. So this is box 4, and with box 4 I'm starting with the 1890s suit because that skirt is by far the heaviest thing that I have left. So it'll be the skirt and bodice will be on the bottom layers, and then I think it will be, at some point it will be the tea gown, but I'm not putting that in there yet. And then it will be my giant 1890s sleeved one that is tied for my largest piece. I got my 2 largest pieces last year actually, which was really cool. They both have a 32.5-inch waist, which is less cool because that's the largest pieces that I have and that I've come across. But it was just kind of fun that I got both of them like in pretty quick succession within a couple months of each other, and those videos are linked in the playlist down below. So anyway, that will go in there, and then ideally I need to get 3, hopefully, Edwardian dresses in there. They're all fairly small, but I have a feeling that once I go to put the tea gown back in, I'm going to find that all 3 of those dresses don't fit in there. And at that point, one of them will probably move into box, I forget what I numbered that, I think that's box 2, the one that has the mint 1890s dress in it, because that is the next box that has like the most amount of room. And the gimps, for now, I was going to put in that box, but I have a feeling they're going to have to move into the box with the 1860s dress in it once that tea gown goes back in. And I realized that what I should probably do is put the tea gown in and then take it out again. Like, that would probably make the most sense, but I don't know. I guess I should do that because then I won't have to shuffle things around later. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna put the tea gown in as a layer and then just take it out again once things are layered. So I'm gonna go back to doing some layering and measuring and documenting and everything. By the way, I have not been documenting really like where I got them plus how much I paid for them, because most of that is going to be digging through my eBay history or my eBay receipts in my email, because the majority of these are from eBay. So there are a few pieces that I just don't remember where I got them, and I think I will probably find, when I can't find an eBay receipt for them, that I maybe got them from like an antique store or something, but I will cross that bridge when I get to it.
Okay, so I need you to geek out with me here for a minute, because this is the dress that I'm planning to recreate later this year. And it's so freaking cute. This is the first time I've had her in a dress form. And she's so little. Like, I mean, it looks like she closes, but that's only because someone put Velcro on here at one point, and so it's not actually like over where the Velcro should be. If you can see, like, she should close to here, but she kind of closes because Velcro is kind of adjustable. But also she's like so short for this dress form. Like, her waist is way up here, whereas the dress form's waist is here. And granted, this is the 19 teens, so the waists were a little bit higher, but this is late 19 teens, so not really. But also, oh my god, it's just so freaking cute. All these little scallops. I'll show you a whole video on this later, but I just wanted to share with you how adorable this is and how I really need to find this fabric or something really close to it, because I cannot wait to make this in my size so I can wear it this summer like every day. I managed to just fit, I think, everything that I needed to in box number 4. So up top here we have either it's a late 19 teens and she was a beanpole, or this is actually a 20s, but it feels very 19 teens dress. And I say that because the waist is super low. And then we have my favorite cute little one that I'm gonna make. And then we have the tea gown, which I'm gonna leave in here for the moment. And then we've got my giant sleeved lady, and then the walking dress, the 1890s walking suit. So that is gonna be everything in box number 4. Now I can go ahead and put the last few items away, which are a beaded 19 teens dress, and then the 2 gimps. And I can put those away, and either they will go, something will go in here because there's a little bit more room. Ideally, I would just like to put the gimps in there and then put the dress in that box that I still have to fully catalog. So I am going to get to work on that. Looking at box 5, there is definitely room for me to put the 19 teens dress in here. I've already lifted out the other ivory 19 teens dress that I've filmed already, but I have filmed, I think, everything in this box, which means I already have pictures and measurements in all of the videos. So I'm actually going to leave everything in the box, put the 19 teens dress, the black one, in and take a measurement of that first, and then just put everything back in the box and go off my videos to get all of the data that I need for it, because that makes it easy. Also, it's kind of nice that I've like already filmed everything in this box, because that means that I don't need it as accessible, because I don't need to be pulling it out to make videos every month.
So that is now everything cataloged. Everything fit in those 5 boxes. I am so glad, and apparently I'm gonna need to get more boxes if I want to buy more pieces. So I'm definitely going to think hard about if I do want to buy more pieces, because obviously I still have a lot of pieces to show you still. And in fact, looking at my spreadsheet, I actually have 28 pieces total, and I've shown you probably just shy of half of them. So obviously a lot of pieces still left to go, and I'm excited to share all of those with you this year, and maybe new pieces as well because I can't resist. I'm going to show you what my finished spreadsheet looks like now. So with all of the pictures in there and the box numbers and the box layers and everything, it's all going to be really, really easy to find. I am still going to print out those pictures also and put them on the exterior of the boxes so that I know exactly what is where, even without looking at the spreadsheet. But the spreadsheet's going to be super, super helpful in telling me really where everything is and all of the data about everything as well. I have decided to make the item numbers based on what box they're in and also just sort of a generic number based on the year order, which is probably not a good idea of how to do it because obviously I'm going to get pieces that will fit in where they go. But the kind of unfortunate thing is that while I would want to do it as in like what order I acquired them to make the numbers that way, there's some of them that I honestly don't know, and my eBay receipts can tell me some things, but unfortunately they can't tell me every single little detail because there are some that I did not buy on eBay. So this is going to be close and this will do. And at least now, I mean, the item numbers themselves are really just a museum sort of thing. They're not actually something that I need to use, but also my collection's not that big currently, so who knows. Anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube twice a week with my sewing vlogs out on Tuesdays and other costuming content like this out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you would like to support me and all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Ko-fi and my Patreon down below. And on that note, I do want to send a huge super thank you to all of my wonderful patrons, particularly those at the romantic level and above. And those include Heidi, Sarah, Alexia, Grace, Sally Ann, Tiffany, and Vivian. So again, thank you all so much. Thank you to all of my patrons and especially those several that I mentioned. And if you would like to support me on Patreon, again, that link is down in the description. Once again, thank you so, so much for joining me for this video. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!